We have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And today we have none other than our very own Freestyle Friday expert, which we know her as our self-carepreneur expert, but she is here as our guest today. How are you, Sharon D. Brown?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. It is just a pleasure to be here. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my. Even though I've been here before, but for whatever reason, this time it's just seemed just such an honor.
Well, I'm the honored one because you always devote your time and your talent, your research, and your expertise by coming on and sharing with our studio audience how people can grow as a self-carepreneur, because you're merging so many different aspects of life together, which I'll let you talk about that. But what I want to do right now is just give everybody a chance to know who you are. And it is, when I say a pleasure, to have Sharon D. Brown, self-care advocate, mental health activist. It's a lot of different terms here. An activist for mental health. She's also a speaker, a wellness activist, and a consultant, a restorative. Is it restorative or restorative? Restorative. See, it's like bologna, bologna. Can I say filet? Which one is it, right? Okay. Restorative, yoga and meditation practitioner, and a teacher. She also has her own talk show. And so she's directing you where you can learn more about her podcast. So welcome Sharon D. Brown, who is truly lives up to the name of self-carepreneur expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show, to the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is such a pleasure of being here. It's almost like, it almost feels like it's my first time.
Is it? And you know what we talked about backstage. So now that's going to be the case even when I have the Freestyle Friday experts come on as guests. I'm just going to go do the whole normal thing that I do for first time guests, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. I'm glad you feel welcomed again. And so listen, everybody, you may have questions throughout today's conversation. We're talking about hustle versus harmony. The difference between hustle and harmony and how you can kind of infuse the two together. So Sharon, what I wanted you to do is just take us back on your journey and tell us maybe when there was a turning point in your life that you realized that self-care was really needing to be a priority for you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, first of all, just introducing myself to everyone. Again, my name is Sharon D. Brown, and I'm the founder of Self Care U Academy. And pretty much with the Self Care U Academy, it is dedicated for entrepreneurs and leaders where they can supercharge their self care, safeguard their sanity, and thrive in the midst of chaos without sacrificing themselves. Because that's what usually happens, especially for those of us who have missions, who have a ministry, who have a movement, and we're a servant for others. Sometimes we can forget about ourselves. But then not only that, it's like in the midst of it, sometimes we don't always do the things that need to be done to take care of our own vessel, our own mind. And so for me, when I want to say self-care has been, I can't say 100% part of my life because that wouldn't be telling the truth.
Okay.
But I will say this, it has been a part of my mind, whether or not I was actively involved in it. in one
Okay.
way or another. And part of that is because, by being a therapist, I'm a
Mhm.
licensed clinical social worker, and that in of itself, I'm exposed to so many different things of the mind. But on a personal basis, I
Mhm.
would say there were three pivoting points in my life where self-care really became where it really hit me and
Mhm.
that I needed. The first one was a breakup. And for anybody who heard me talk about it, I cried for 40 days and 40 nights. It's really more than that.
Okay.
But it was a point in my life I felt so much pain in
Mm.
my heart, in my spirit. And as a therapist, I knew that talk therapy wasn't going to help. Talk therapy
Mm.
can be very helpful, but there are times in which going into a therapy session, talking may not be the thing that a person needs. And
Interesting.
so at that particular time, I heard about yoga, but I wasn't practicing yoga. I think I might have did it a few times before in the past, but
Okay.
it didn't touch me.
Mhm.
I walked into a yoga class because I needed something because I was exercising at that
Mhm.
particular time. I was eating healthy, but it just wasn't doing anything to help settle me. And
Mm.
so yoga was one of the first things that I did. And then from there, I ended up going to yoga teacher training where I learned even more so. I said, oh, people really need to
Right.
learn about this.
That's good.
And so the second thing that helped me realize that, oh, I definitely need to make sure I have self care and make sure I'm taking care of myself is
Mhm.
when it came to my parents. And with my parents, it was really more, I would say, a 10-year um challenge of their when it came to their medical condition.
Okay.
But again, it was it was still after the break. I would say it was still after the breakup, but there was a period of time
Mm.
where both my mom and my stepdad both had some medical challenges. And for anybody who knew me, at that time and we were close friends, thank you for listening and being
Aw.
there for me. But it was hard. I mean, even though I have family as well, but it was hard on them too. It's like each of us did our part, but it was hard. And so one thing that I would say is that what I liked about having yoga into my life
Mhm.
in that it helped me see where it can be helpful. So by yoga being introduced, and there were some other things introduced as well, in that
Okay.
when it came to that, it made me realize, oh, I need something to hold on to. I need something to help me
Yeah.
through this. And so that was another time. And then just working in the mental health field, how much it helps others, but what people don't realize. And I don't even think that I realized this until after a decade later. But really, when I started, when I stepped into yoga and Reiki and some other things,
Mhm.
that's when I really realized of how much it really takes a toll on us.
Okay.
It's not just the stories that we hear, but what it does to our body. And
Mhm.
that's the thing that they don't really talk about, the
That's right.
visceral effect. And so we can become burnout because of that. Again, it doesn't mean we need to talk about the stories and how it impacts.
Right.
It's what it does to our energy.
Mm.
And so again, those are the three things that really made me realize that
Mhm.
self-care was important for me and to be able to share it with others.
That's really a good deep dive into understanding the backdrop as to what pushed you into this, especially when you're dealing with heartbreak and personal challenges, whether it's caring for somebody else or trying to think of how you can manage your job, manage your life and relationships, and then you're getting your heart broken at the same time. How in your opinion does that impact your ability to juggle your work and your life in that whole balance perspective?
One thing I can say is that it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's it is not easy
Mhm.
at all. And because there was even a period of time, I'm like, do I want to do this therapy thing? Seriously, because it really took a toll on me, especially with the breakup. It was just that it put me in a different space because I
Mhm.
had never been in that space before. And
Right.
also, one thing I want to let people know when it comes to breakups and heartaches, majority of the time, it's not about the person.
Never. Never.
Eh, you know, and I want to make that clear because
Mhm.
I don't want people to think, oh, I can't get over this person. It's usually almost never. When I was crying for 40 days, for 40 nights, maybe the first 4 days, may have been about the person, maybe the first week. But after that, it was more so just some deeper things that I didn't even realize
Right.
that was suppressed within me that needed to come out, that needed to surface. And so
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure I made that clear. But getting back to what you were saying is kind of like how to, kind of like manage all of that. And I
Right.
would say, really, what helped me is knowing I knew, especially when it came to the breakup, I knew that I was going to be okay. I
Mhm.
knew that I just had to get through it. And we can't rush the time. We
That's
can
right.
do a lot of different things which can help suppress the time per se, but we can't completely like, I'm not going to say rush the time. I'm going to take that back. We can't rush the
Right.
process
Right. Right.
because the time can be condensed with the tools that we put in place. And so by having the belief that even though it was hard, that I knew that I was going to be okay,
Mhm.
that is one thing that helped. And the other thing is and round about that time, that was also about the same time. It's like, I want to help people in a different way. How can I help people? So having a vision of wanting to be of service. So that was the other things. And so it kind of led me into a rabbit hole into all of this self-care thing on its way. And if you don't mind me sharing
I
that
want
of
you to
how.
share everything that you want to share during this hour. Go. Feel free.
Okay. So, like I said, it did start off with the yoga,
Mhm.
but then by me just having the ideal that, hey, I want to help people in a different way. And
Yeah.
pretty much, I want to say maybe about 2013, and that was before the breakup. That was already planted that I wanted to
Mhm.
help people in a different way other than counseling, other than therapy. And so what I did is I had started studying, or at least like applied or looking into personal training. So it wasn't until 2015 that I became a personal trainer and I passed the test. So that was the first part. And
Oh.
then I'm like, well, let me get into this. Right. And so with personal training, they use motivation interviewing, in which even in therapy, we use that. And I was familiar with it with therapy, but I wanted to learn it from
Mhm.
the perspective as a personal trainer. So I'm looking at motivational interviewing, I'm looking it up. And then
Right.
all of this stuff regarding motivation came. And then
Wow.
Michael Bernard Beckwith, I don't know if anyone is familiar with him, but he showed up. And I'm like, who is this person? And he is a pastor, he is a motivational speaker, but he's a healer. He's so many different things. And I started binging on him. And
Okay.
it really opened up my eyes regarding, helping people, and even with me, because even with him, he's more of a spiritual person. If anything, I say spirituality, healing. And I'm like, where has this brother been all my life? Because he has even helped me look at religion in a different way.
Okay.
And so the other part of that, again, I'm like, how can I help people? How can I help people? And I had remember, it's like, oh yeah, I had attended the Black Mental Health Symposium.
Okay.
And Dr. Oh my gosh. Oh, I not I know her name, and she's gonna kill me because we used
You'll
to do
remember it within the hour. Don't worry.
we
Within this
used to
time.
do things, but right now I think because I'm on stage, that's probably
Right,
why I
right,
can think
right.
of her name right now. But anyway, she created the symposium, and I remember there was just one segment, and I couldn't remember the exact name of what the person has said,
Let me
but
put
it was
that picture
Archer
up.
Sims,
That's the
and
tech with. Uh,
yes, that's him.
okay. What's
That's
his name
him.
one more time?
Michael Bernard Beckwith.
Okay, and you said he played a key role in some of the transformations that happened in your life, right?
Yes, yes.
As-
Like I said, I was definitely binging on every word that he had, and it really opened my mind until how I was thinking. And going back to the symposium, I just remember Asha, and she was talking about using, some hand stuff, and helping her brother. And I'm like, I was intrigued by that. And pretty much what it is Reiki.
Mhm.
It's healing with the hands. And they do that even within the church, at least I would say with some churches. But that intrigued me. And with her, I looked her up, and she has training. And so I attended her training, and her training had even had a profound impact on me as well. It
Okay.
changed how I view in helping people when it comes to healing, but it also changed me because it made me realize that I already had some stuff inside of me that
Mm.
I didn't even know. It
Yeah.
heightened my intuition. She talked about crystals. When I was a kid, y'all, guess what? I used
Yeah.
to collect rocks.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but anyway, those are, three of the things that had really helped me, really get started. And from then on, I've been, on this path of sharing information with individuals, as well as, and just looking at different ways of how to help. And one thing I want to say too regarding the Reiki, what it made me realize is that in mental health in and of itself, because a lot of time mental health is talk therapy heavy, that with Reiki, it's about, the energy in your body, and it talks about the chakras and everything. And it just made me realize we're not doing everything to
Mhm.
help people. So we really need to be open to so many different modalities where people can help themselves and to get help.
Okay. And so the thing when I hear Reiki, for example, because I was reading about it, it says Reiki is a Japanese technique for stress reduction. And I'm other red glasses, but I have some red glasses. Let's see. Okay. That promotes healing, and it's administered by laying on of the hands. And see, like, so when what I think I'm hearing, because you have to educate me more on it, is that the power well, for me it would be the power of the Holy Ghost,
Mhm,
because we I lay on hands too, but I lay them on with oil, and knowing
mhm.
that the power of the Lord is ministering through, nothing to do with me as the individual, but that I am being used by God as a vehicle or as a vessel to lay my hands on someone in his name. How is that? How is Reiki? I don't really know much
It's
about
very similar to that.
it.
And when it says the energy it is an energy of a higher power, because basically for individuals who have been atoned like myself, it's like, it's not us. It's not my
Okay.
energy.
Nothing on me.
Yeah, it's not my energy. And that's really what it is. It's the laying of the hands. And it's very similar concepts in and of itself. Some of it depends on your belief, but it's really about the same.
Interesting. Okay, only because I know, like I say in the name of Jesus whenever I'm representing my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, so that it's very clear that I'm not representing Kim, I'm not representing any other source. I'm actually just doing this as a vehicle being used. And so with Reiki, I don't know, do they say something about the Japanese people or God? I don't know what's going on. Don't worry about
No,
it.
they
Pay me
don't.
no attention. I don't know anything about Reiki.
No,
Okay.
they don't. They
Okay, okay.
don't.
So anyway, let's so but Reiki for you has really made a difference because you can see some healing effects and outcomes for people's lives as a result of what you've been trained to do. Is it and then this is, and please help me because I'm really trying to understand, is this almost like how when people do massage therapy and things too, because when I go to a masseuse, I feel like God is orchestrating through their hands some power to really help my body become better. It's stuff that I don't know. I don't personally know how to get to those pain points and pressure points to get the outcome that I'm looking for. And that similar, it sounds like what I'm hearing sometimes with Reiki is that the power that God has given you all in your hands is a healing component to people and they have that outcome. Help me.
In a very similar way, but one thing with the healing of the hands in and of itself, we do not, generally, we don't touch the person. It truly
Oh,
is the energy. And if anybody remember the original Karate Kid,
oh yeah.
and with Daniel when he hurt his leg and with his teacher he rubbed his hands together and put his hand on it, it's very similar to that.
Okay, okay. Well, can you tell me, since I have known you now for a while and you're my Freestyle Friday expert, why you haven't uh did any of this stuff to help my body over here? Is there a reason why? I see you. I actually see you in person. You're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm hearing on this show that you have some healing powers in your hands, and I don't know what is happening. I don't know
But
what's
you know
happening.
what? You know what? I can't remember who it was, but as they say, people won't know until we say. So it's because I haven't really said anything about
Oh.
even though it's part of it. It's like when someone happened to say something, I'm like, oh yeah, I can offer this or refer you.
Well,
So
I'm
this is
really
a good
glad. I'm really
reminder. Say it anyway because you never know who needs your service.
yes. So when I see you in church on Sunday, whenever I see you again, I expect them to be like, excuse me, everybody, saints, everybody, God bless you, saints, God bless you. Sharon, can I see you back here in the office for a minute? Like, put my bowels down.
So we'll make a personal appointment, okay?
You got to be able to have fun when you have people that you love, and then you're getting to learn more about them in this kind of capacity. But how do you feel that burnout actually affects a person's business and personal life? Because people that are tuning in today, if they're experiencing burnout, it is impacting every aspect of life. What is your take on that?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does impact your life. And the thing is, let's talk a little bit what happens even before
Mm,
burnout happens.
right.
Because
Okay.
burnout, if you think about burnout almost like, I don't want to say cancer, but cancer or heart attack, and which burnout can lead to those things.
Right.
But burnout is more so the outcome, the result of things that, even though we can say it's stress, but what are we doing to combat the stress
Mm-hmm.
in and of itself? And so I don't. It is the thing. It's our thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and it's our behaviors and our habits. And our
Good. Okay.
habits can really get in the way. And because sometimes what ends up happening, it is the reactions that we have, especially it's like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get this thing done. Especially
Mm.
when it comes to the hustling kind of mindset. And we do need the hustle
Right.
up to a certain point to really get things done because it's the thing that gives us the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we do need that part of it. However, if you're in a certain state for an extended period of time, if
Mm-hmm.
everything is of urgency,
That's a problem.
that is a problem. So
Yeah.
this is how burnout ends up happening. Like it's okay sometimes if you need to work 10 to 12 hours, let's say for 3 days in a row. If
Mm.
you need to do that for a project or something that you're working on, but I would say even within that time frame, input some mental breaks, input where you can have fun and laugh, input where you can do certain things, because when you don't, to be honest, the body doesn't know the difference between you hustling and you're running from a lion or a
That's
tiger
good.
or bear.
Okay.
It doesn't know the difference
Mm.
because it pretty much ignite everything. It's like, oh, fight, oh, flee, oh, freeze.
Yes. So the body is just responding to what is the hype associated with the situation, because it's not getting a visual picture of, oh, she's just exhausted, or she's just tired, or she's just doing the most, or whatever. The body is like, we're in fight or flight mode, and this
Mhm.
is a problem for me and internally.
Yeah.
Wow. Good. Well, I was looking up some of the signs of burnout, and some of the things that came up, and it's on almost all of the sites, so I don't have to cite each one of them here. But it's basically saying that it's affecting how you do or how you feel, even from an emotional exhaustion. If you're too much stress and being too overwhelmed, means that that's one of the signs of burnout. A loss of empathy is what one of them is saying too. And another one is like your sleep is completely off, because chronic stress affects the nerves and hormones that regulate sleep, and you may have insomnia. There's a lot of different things that, I mean, you just can Google, it and you'll see gobs of stuff. Your eating habits change. They're less than normal, having headaches, stomach aches, emotional exhaustion, trouble concentrating, and even completing tasks. There's a lot of different things. So those are some of the things, if you're dealing with burnout, to actually look for some warning signs. But for entrepreneurs, is there anything special you think that we should look for as business entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah. The thing is, I would say the thing to look for is looking at your habits and looking at your thoughts. Because if you're saying, oh, I got to get this done, I got to get this done, and you consistently, again, putting in, I'm just using 10 to 12 hours, but even just by looking at that, and you see how my shoulder is raising up, I got to get this done, we end up doing that. And so when you take a deep breath, and say, and especially when you have a plan, so it's having a strategy of how you're going to get it done, like pick your three top, your three priorities,
Mm-hmm.
and what's is important, because by you and not thinking that you have to like answer to every email, have systems in place. And
Okay.
that's one of the reason that like having the daily business tracker, that's important to have, because one, it integrates some self-care things, but it
Mhm.
also allows you to see things in a bird's view eye. Because otherwise, if you're all over the place, your
Right.
nervous system is telling you you're not settled.
That's good.
And so this is why it's so important for us to plan. Like for me, that's one of the things, because when I really think about it, a lot of the places where I work, I dealt with it. It's not just by working in mental health. Some of
Right.
it is where I work. I work for the insurance company. Working for the insurance company, basically, we're busy from the time we start to the time we end, because of the fact that is the number of people that are in the emergency room. People are in the emergency room to be admitted. They need a pre-cert. People are in outpatient.
That's right.
Someone has to take care of those. So when the emergency rooms are busy, the insurance company is busy for pre-certs
That's
as
right.
well. And
That's right.
so just saying that is a lot of work. It's busy work in and of itself. And so you may have to take those 2-minute breathers. You may have to get up. Well, definitely get up when you really do have to use the bathroom, but I at
Right,
least
right,
say,
literally.
go and get a cup of water and just say, hey, do I need to go to the bathroom, so that you can get yourself out of that urgency, out of that fight and flight. Because a lot of times people may think of fight or flight of being, like when something traumatic happened. It's every day. It can be every day.
That's good. And even, when you were talking about this, and thank you, Mackenzie, backstage for your help too. I appreciate it. I just want to say, when you were talking about it, I immediately thought, be more intentional right now, Kim. Because I was like, like this tightness in my neck and everything. And then I was like, oh, let me just relax. And I felt so much better. So that put me in the mind of, there are so many myths out there, especially for busy people, that, I'll rest once I'm successful. I'll get my rest when I'm successful. What's your theory on that?
No, because if you rest when you're successful, you won't be here.
Wow.
You won't be here because I'm going to say this. We're constantly training our body. We're constantly training our mind. We're constantly training our thoughts. We're constantly training our spirit in everything that we do. And remember how I was talking before, our body doesn't know the difference when we're in the sense of urgency that tiger is not behind us, that bear is not behind us. So if you're constantly in that, let's just look at high blood pressure. High blood pressure isn't just a thing that becomes. They also say it's stress. So if your body is always in a mode that, hey, a bear is running after me, it develops certain chemicals.
Yes.
Inside you. When you have certain chemicals inside you, then you start thinking in a certain way. Because even when your shoulders are up, if it's up for too long, it's gonna start hurting. So if you don't take that, for those of you all who know me, you hear me say a lot, take that deep breath. Some people may think that I'm saying taking a deep breath so that you can be like, oh, no, it's so that you can release that type of energy.
Interesting. And you know what? You actually, even because I witnessed this, because you come to the church sometimes. So I've seen you in church, or not just at church, but even at events, because I go to different events and you're there, where I'll notice that you'll stand up and, get up against the wall or something. Why do you do that? I never even asked that before. And I don't know if it's good to ask it on the show, but these are things, now that I know you're going to be massaging my shoulders soon one day from up in the air or like this. I don't know what you're going to be doing, but just talk to me and tell me what makes you do that during different events.
Yeah, one of the reasons that I do that now is because years and years ago, when I had a job sitting in the computer, and this is when I was at working for the insurance company, just sitting there in front of the computer, I ended up developing, I forget what it's called. It's not sciatica, but it's the other thing. But anyway, it really hurt my, like say my hips.
Okay.
And so now I definitely know that if you sit down for too long without moving, it's not good for you. And I don't know if you heard, and actually this was probably even 10 years ago, but they're saying, and even, now, is that sitting is the new smoking.
What? No, I'm going to search that. Okay.
Sitting is the new smoking.
Is the new smoking. That is very detrimental.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so one of the reasons that I stand up is so that I'm the basic of it, just so that I can be healthy.
Wow. So just so you can actually, and so shoot, when you start standing up, I'll be like that. Everybody, this is a time we should be taking a break, according to her standing up. So this is our stand up moment. We've been in service too long or something. Okay, look, sitting is the new smoking. There's a whole article, and it's on there's a whole article on News Medical Life Sciences, and it says sedentary behavior is insufficient physical activity can negatively impact an individual's physical and mental health. It can potentially increase the risk of non-communicable diseases, including cardiometabolic disorders. Oh, this is huge. I didn't know this. Yeah. Okay. So you guys, it's so many articles and things. I'm going to put this article because it's, and you know what? Just Google it. Just Google it. No, I'll go ahead and put this. Let me copy it. Let me put, because it's extra work. I'll be trying my best. I'll be doing the most over here, but I am going to put this in the comment section. There are some questions coming in. Take a moment, if you would, and address our audience. Celeste Johnson, who's also a talk show host, and she has a Voices of Hope program as well. So y'all make sure you follow Celeste Johnson. Answer her question, if you will. Read it out and answer it.
Yeah, she says, can you speak to the idea that everything we think we need to do, we don't actually need to do? Prioritizing, delegation, and elimination. And that is so, so true.
Yes.
In that the things that we think that we need to do, that we may not actually need to. So in saying that, prioritizing things that are important. Now, one thing I want to add to that is that there are also things that we know we need to do that we don't do.
Procrastination is the assassination of your motivation, I've heard. Yes.
And so in saying that, I'm going to use as an example, let's just say the 10,000 steps. Mm-hmm. Whether you're, physically able to or not, I'm going to say it's important to at least strive for it. Now, there are some individuals that I can't believe my doctor said I got to do 10,000 steps. He know I can't. She know I can't. But there are benefits of doing that. I'm going to add to this. One of my friends is like an ultra athlete, and they're just a healthy, conscious person. And they don't even do it completely for their health. They do it more so for their mental and spiritual aspect. And if anybody is familiar with David Goggin, pretty much my friend is like the second David Goggin. Okay. But in saying that, they look at a lot of biographies and things like that, and they were looking at one, and they're like, "Oh wow, the standard. What is the standard of being human? Most of us are not even doing the standard of eating healthy, the standard of taking care of our own bodies, the standard of sitting still." And we're saying, oh, it's too much. I can't do that. I have this, I have that. And especially for individuals who have children, individuals who have partners. Oh, it's too much. But at the same time, and y'all don't come after me when I say this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give y'all her personal cell. Okay?
But at the same time, people would say, well, I am a vessel. But how are you taking care of the vessel?
The vessel that God gave, the one body we have. That's the point.
It needs to be in tip-top shape as much as you can do. So let's just say the 10,000 steps is the standard.
That's right. It is a good standard, only because the 10,000 steps, I know when I walk 10,000 steps every day, that week I lose 1 pound. Can you believe it? I wasn't even doing it for that. I was just doing it because Frankie walks 25,000 steps a day. I'm like, what in the world? I can do 10, not 25. Yeah. You keep going. I'm going to turn back now. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. So just having the standard of being, when we talk about, because we've talked some biblical principles in our previous conversation, you're saying that this body that is the vessel that God gave us, let's also make sure that this body is up to the best standard that it can be in if we're representing Christ too. Good.
Yes. And also to add to that, let's just, again, use the 10,000 steps. Some people may not be able to physically, let's say someone who's paralyzed, right, or someone who really do have, some problems walking. They may have problems with one step. Do it in your mind, visualize it, act as if you are walking. Mm-hmm. Act as if. Good point. Tell yourself you're walking, how proud you are of walking.
Good. Very good. That's you know what, and I hear a lot of concepts, but I think God has really gifted you to think very different about this whole self-carepreneur. Because I've never heard anybody say, and I do visualization, exercise,
Mhm.
stress management things with people myself, taking them away on a mental vacation and all of that. And I'm in Hawaii sometimes when I'm right in my backyard. But when you just said it from a walking perspective, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So even mentally walking
Yeah.
can help that person de-stress some. Hmm, very
And
good.
yeah, put it like this, and we never know. It may even help them actually walk because there's a
Start
lot of
walking.
stuff that goes along with that too. But
Yeah,
visualize yourself. Like instead of saying, I can't, because you remember the power of the words, but to definitely visualize yourself.
good.
And this is just with anything that you want to do, anything that you are doing, is to visualize, say it,
That's
and you know pretend that you are doing it. And that's still a part of
yeah.
visualization, but that is so important, is to be able to take the time for yourself and taking care of your vessel and taking care of your body, your mind, and your spirit
I love
in
it. I
that.
love it. And now Mackenzie said, so what do I do when I have kids, young kids, who don't leave me alone at night?
That one is one of the things that a lot of parents end up dealing with. And what I would say regarding that, and especially like when it comes at night, is to have a powerful visualization. And even if you are able to just go into, I would say, a trance just for a few moments, because it may not even be a minute,
Right, right.
is to be able to do it. If you are able to go to the bathroom, and if you're able to, do 2 minutes or 3 minutes into the bathroom, and I would say to have a strip, to have something that you can say to yourself so you can get your mind and wherever you want to be, whatever affirmation, the word of God, whatever that is, because the more that you do that for yourself, then the more that you do it. And then the other thing is too, is that I'm going to share this with you. What you do, even though the kids may not have no interest in it, the kids don't do what you say, they
Okay.
do what you do.
That's right.
Eventually, they will join you.
That's
And
right.
whatever that is, if it's sitting in silence, if it's listening to something. So that's another way of doing it as well. And then make things fun. You know, uh, there, I'm pretty sure there are some games out there, but just make things fun as well.
And she does a good job of making things fun. Right now, she's doing this all body vibration system that's helping her transform and lose weight. So I'll see her children counting and doing stuff. So I
Yeah.
can see that Mackenzie does a really creative job in bringing her children into the mix of some fun experiences. So keep up the great work, Mackenzie. So I put two. I just want to make sure you all know how you really can stay connected with Sharon D. Brown. She is at Self Care U Academy.com, and that's the U is spelled out YOU, selfcareuacademy.com. And I am Sharon D. Brown on social media platforms. And so, Sharon, I do want us to talk about this system that you have, the DBT, Daily Business Tracker. And I'm going to play you want me to play this quick video
Yes,
first?
please.
All right, all right. So let me play this and then we're going to hear more directly from you. Hold on.
The secret to success isn't just hustle, it's rituals. The first thing that you do to start your day. Are you waking up stressed, reacting to emails, chasing your to do list, and not knowing what to do when there's an emergency? Well, let me tell you, everything changed for me once I created a daily ritual plan and setting intentions and tracking my goals. Now I start my day with the daily business tracker. Do you want to create a daily success ritual that keeps you on track? But go ahead and grab the daily business tracker. Grab the tracker now at bit.ly/dbt dash now. That's bit.ly/dbt dash now.
All right. So talk to us about this daily tracker. You all scan that QR code. We'll put it back up again. Just the actual code itself. Here we go. I'll put this up. And I want y'all to scan that code and we can hear you. So Sharon, say something while people are getting a chance to scan this code.
Yeah. Again, with the daily business tracker, this is something, again, it gives you a bird's eye view of your day. And, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, and even as leaders, a lot of times we can really be all over the place. And so it's something that helps you to not completely be all over the place, but to also to remember yourself as well. And so it has something where you can do like a daily affirmation. And I would just say, pick one affirmation that you want to focus on that day and write it out 5 times. And then it also has a space for you to put in the word of the day, a scripture. And my favorite is the daily 7 M's, in which I did last week on the introduce you to it, should I say, on the Kim Jacobs show as well. And then for me, where I needed the most help, because business was just so new to me and just certain things just wasn't a part of my repertoire, like when it comes to marketing and branding, to have a checklist, because there are so many different things. It's like, oh yeah, do this, but then there are different steps that comes along with it, but also to help you, again, with your mission, with your movement, with your ministry is, are you telling people what do you have on social media? Now, one thing I will say with the tracker, it doesn't mean that you have to touch on all these points every single day, but depending on where you are in your business,
Right.
it does serve as a reminder, either for you to obtain these things or to develop a system for them. And another thing I want to say about this, like generally when it comes to entrepreneurs and business owners, I want to say there's like 2 types.
Okay.
There's that one who, may, especially if you're new, you may not be, you don't know a whole lot about business. So
Right.
this is going to help you. But
Mhm.
especially for those of you who have been leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs for a while, you're all into the business, but sometimes you forget about yourself.
That's
So
good.
this helps you with that, because you don't want to sway away from you. You're like, oh, but I'm showing up for my business. But are you completely present, especially when you go home? Are you
Good.
able to cut things
Oh,
down? Because you know how we were talking about urgency
yeah.
and about being chased, and whatsoever.
Mhm.
It helps with that, because one thing, like the more that you do this and the more that you have this in front of you, it helps you to think clearly, what do I need to accomplish today? And then it helps you to put a game plan
That's good. Right.
in and of itself. And y'all, when I'm saying this, some of these things I'm gonna say gaining strength in, because like when it comes to planning, because I'm more of like, hey, let's do this, I can handle an emergency. It's like, oh, I got a plan for this, what are you talking
Right. That's okay. This is good because I just purchased mine, just so you know. So you should see some communication coming through on your end. And I am going to put this up again because what I'm hearing is that if you can track self care, it will lead to improved focus, energy, and resilience, which are some key factors for us as business entrepreneurs. I'm over here taking notes, y'all.
Yeah.
I love when I have a guest come on the show and I can glean from what they're saying. So this daily business tracker, I'm going to put it back up again. Scan that QR code. If you scan the QR code already and you know that you're purchasing the daily business tracker, please let us know that now in the comment section. For those of you that are over there on audio podcasts, and you clearly can't even see what's happening, you can go to selfcareyouacademy.com, or you can also go to, there's a bit.ly link, and I'm going to put that in the comment section too, because some people like to go and use the bit.ly versus scanning the QR codes. And the bit.ly link is DBT now. So it's https colon / bit.ly / now, because I have audio podcast listeners too. I know sometimes people are like, why is she spelling all of this stuff out and we can see what's happening? Because that's because the Kim Jacobs Show is now in 100 countries and 350 million households, and now on Roku as well, thanks to CTR Media Network. So if you go over here to the bit.ly link, DBT now, you'll be able to get that business tracker as well. I just got mine, and let me know in the comment section if you just got yours as well, or if you're getting yours. All right. Whew. So what do you challenge people to do when it comes to tracking and building the sustainability routine, a routine that can really be something that works for them? What do you recommend that we sustain it? Because I get stuff all the time, but then I need to implement it. So talk to me.
Yeah. Pretty much when it comes to that, is really go back to your why. What do you want to accomplish? And basically when it goes back to your why, it's like, okay, what would I need to put in place? Because one, it's twofold. Your why need you. Your why needs you, thinking clearly at your highest point to be able to make the moves, to have the momentum. And anybody, and it's not just life, it's not just business, but it's life too, because I've already told you like what led me to really be into self-care, in that, because of some personal things, because of work. And so it also helps you with that, because one thing with the tracker is, it has something in there regarding what is my attitude right now? What is my attitude right now? And then it has some boosters, what can I do if I need to shift my attitude? So the main thing is go back to your why and be dedicated, because keeping things in, I don't want to say in order, but have something to go to help you keep things in order is really important. Because again, we need some things, I guess you could say, to help us along the way. And we can't do it completely by ourselves. And it doesn't mean, because I think there's this thing, there's a pride thing, and there's an ego. It's like, oh, I can remember this, I can do that. But at the same time, if you try to have all of this stuff by memory, you're using energy that you could be using somewhere else.
See, when everything you say, once you say it, I need to, okay, are you completely present? Yes, that's a great comment. You can take the comment down, because I want to put this up one more time, and I'm going to keep putting it up, because now I have a new comment over here from my mom. Where's my mom's comment? She's like, wait, Kim, did you say that you just got the tracker, or did you say you got mine also? Okay. So we're going to put the tracker back up again. I'm going to give everybody a chance to scan the QR code again, okay, in case you're like me and need to go back and put a different email address. Let's see. So this time I have to put, so that's the whole point. Maybe you can gift one to a friend. So I'm leaving it up for a few minutes, only because I want people, and you can continue to say something. Even if you would, Sharon, share maybe a success story of something that someone did that used the daily business tracker, and it was like they came back and maybe shared some kind of testimonial or anything.
Yeah. One thing I would say is that I'm going to use myself.
Come on. You're gonna be able to use me too soon.
I'm gonna use myself because in one sense, like with the daily 7 M's, some of them are already had. And then I'm
Okay.
like, let me write this stuff out. And so once I wrote it out, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I have been doing some of these things. And
Hmm.
like for instance, with the 7 M's, it has manifest and market and monetize. And with the last two, those are not my strong point. And so another thing to kind of remember, when it's not in your view,
Hmm.
even though you know it in your mind,
Right.
but to be honest, you won't go back to it and you won't really remember,
No. No.
and you'd be like, oh yeah. And then for instance, like when it came to the email, when it comes to the email, all of us in business, we know that we need to have it,
That's right.
but we're focusing on this, but sometimes we may forget about that. So the tracker, like once I put everything, I can't say everything, but a lot of the
Much.
important things in one spot,
Uh-huh.
and to make myself, especially as a business owner, and I'm going to say this, especially for those of us who are in the wellness community in mental health, because we don't, naturally think of this way,
Right.
but we have to think about the business side. It's just part of it. And so for me, the tracker has been helpful where it shows what I'm good at, but it
Okay.
shows what I need to work on as well. And in order for your mission, your ministry, and your movement, in order for it to really do what it needs to do in order for you, you got to be honest with yourself. It's not a weakness or something bad. It just is.
That's good. That's good. Look at your phone again, because look at your phone one more time, because I just play. Can you verify that I did place an order for somebody? I placed an order for my mom too. Okay.
Okay, I'll make sure I do that.
Yeah, because so now you have definitely our two. We need the daily tracker. And is that a one? Oh, is that a one-time charge or monthly,
Yeah, it's
girl?
just a
What?
one-time charge.
Okay, I'm like,
No,
wait a
it's just a
minute,
one-time
reverse my
charge.
stuff. I didn't even read it. I didn't even read it. Okay. It's a one-time charge.
It's a one-time charge.
That is so sweet of you. That's so funny. I'm over here typing and like not even knowing. I'm just like, I just know Sharon is providing great stuff. Okay.
Hmm.
So the actual charge is very nominal cost, something that you pay for a cup of coffee somewhere, and you're going to get so much more organization in your life when it comes to a daily business tracker to help you with your personal, your business, and your self-care, all of it wrapped into one, a daily business tracker. We all need this. Actually, I think the whole world needs this. So we should all be getting a daily business tracker. Scan the QR code, and put it in your tool bag. There were 7 things that you talked about, and I know we're almost on the tail end, but I do want to just at least get you to list those 7 things that you were saying before.
Yeah, yeah. Last week I was talking about the 7 M's, and with the 7 M's, and let me look at it to make sure I don't skip anything.
And then you know what? They can go back and watch Freestyle Friday episode 2 if you just want to leave it at that, because that way they stay connected with you even further. But maybe even just sharing something that you want everybody to walk away knowing today.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go ahead and say the 7 M's is your mission, meditate, movement, manifest, market, and monetize. Because again, in running a business, we need all of those things. And the thing that I want to end up, we were talking about hustling. We do need some aspects of the hustling when it comes to even, our movement, our ministry, but we also need to make sure we input that harmony, because your mind, your body, and your spirit just cannot be on the go all the
That's
time.
right.
And we need you to be completely present when you show up, when you're delivering your message. And so that's where the harmony part comes in to play, is to make sure that you are at least trying to have the standard of being human, because we got to take care of this vessel.
Oh, Sharon, you had so much bottled up inside of you over there. And so I need you to come back again on another episode where we talk about the wealth carepreneur piece, because we didn't even talk about that today. And that's
Mm-mm.
another whole component of what you offer, because you do this whole infusing of self-care, wealth care, and healthcare, and all of it merged together to be this beautiful thing of a game-changing experience for people.
Yes.
Well, how do people stay connected with you, Sharon D. Brown?
Yeah, one, you can stay connected with me by ordering the tracker. That's one way you can stay connected with me. But the other way you can stay connected with me, you can go to my website at selfcareuacademy.com, or also on social media, specifically Instagram, at I am Sharon D. Brown. And again, that is I am Sharon D. Brown.
I am Sharon D. Brown, and you all are gonna be. She got some brown butter, body butter. I see all kind of stuff over there. No, I don't know. I was like, "What, Sharon? What is all of this extra stuff going on over there?" So you are single, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not that I'm playing matchmaker here on the Kim Jacobs Show, but I can tell you that Sharon is a beautiful soul, is what she is. And
Thank
so
you.
if you're trying to find a lovely wife, then you have found yourself a good thing, a very good thing if you find Sharon D. Brown. That's what I'll say. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Now, if you do end up dating Sharon and y'all get married, remember where you connected with her on the Kim Jacobs Show. You're like, I met Sharon because I was watching her on the Kim Jacobs Show. Oh God. Okay. I want to let you all know tomorrow too that we have a special guest coming on. She's doing a book launch exclusively here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Don't Leave the Room book launch. And that's going to be with this lovely young lady, Diana. And she's going to be interviewed by both me and Dr. Lotus Rashay from the Lotus Rashay Ignites Show. So I hope that you will tune in at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a brief commercial about that. And then after that, we're going to get one more closing comment from you, Sharon, and we're going to disconnect.
Don't Leave the Room. My Journey from Brooklyn to the Boardroom, a CEO's ultimate playbook for commanding every room, is a game-changing manifesto for anyone who wants to learn how to thrive and add value in any room. Through the experiences of attorney Diana Lynch, you will learn how to develop your playbook on how to overcome challenges in rooms where you may be dismissed, underestimated, undervalued, or told you don't belong. It is a rallying cry for the bold, the marginalized, and misunderstood, and the fearless visionaries determined to lead despite the odds. In this electrifying book, you'll discover how to conquer the room of one, pioneer uncharted territories, and navigate the challenges that are sure to show up in every room. It's not just a guide, it's a playbook for showing up, staying present, and rewriting the rules of leadership and relevance in a world designed to leave you out. This book isn't just about survival, it's about strategy, adaptability, sacrifice, and revolution. It encourages living with purpose, taking every opportunity for growth, and fully embracing the lessons, blessings, and revelations life offers. Whether you're a leader striving to remain relevant, an entrepreneur navigating a purpose driven journey, or a dreamer ready to create something bolder and bigger than yourself, Don't Leave the Room will inspire and empower you to lead with courage, compassion, and a fearless commitment to your destiny. Pre-order your copy today.
All right, everybody. So that's tomorrow. Make sure you tune in at 11 o'clock. Any closing comments, Sharon D. Brown?
Yes, with the closing comment, I just want to say to add harmony in your hustle so that you can live a vibrant life.
There you have it, everybody. And if you want to support the Kim Jacobs Show, make sure that you know that you can do so by donating to our broadcast, which we're bringing balance to your home. You can watch our show daily, weekdays, right from the comfort of your home. So make sure that you pour into the program and allow us to keep bringing that balance and wonderful guests like Sharon D. Brown to your house. God bless you all. Love you all. And I'll see you, Sharon. You're amazing.
Thank
I am so
you.
glad that I had you on today. Mackenzie, take it away. Love you all, everybody. Mom, you got your copy coming, girl. You got it done. I got you. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.